Welcome back to this special edition of Asia Tonight. We've been following Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida's opening address at the Shangri-La Dialogue, at which he stressed Japan's goals for a free and open Indo-Pacific. Mr Kishida, a research fellow for security and technology policy at the International Institute for Strategic Studies, joins us with more. Mr, you asked one of just two questions to the Prime Minister, and when you asked him what realistic diplomacy looked like, it was interesting that his answer went immediately to be characterized by China-Japan relations. Did that strike you as something important, and what were the other pertinent points?
Right. I think his response was very important because his speech did not directly mention China, and he was always consistent in terms of trying to build confidence relationship to have dialogue with China. But another very important point that I thought was interesting from his speech is that although not mentioning China, his message was very clear that the Russian invasion of Ukraine is not just a European matter, but also an Asian matter, and that it's a violation against the rule of law, which is also happening in Asia. He mentioned the South China Sea. He also mentioned the importance of security in Taiwan Straits, and I thought that was a very strong message against China.
Yuka, the Prime Minister also spoke about Japan's vision, his vision for peace in the world. What does it tell us about Japan's evolving role and the security landscape within East Asia and perhaps even the wider Indo-Pacific region?
Right. I think that also relates to his point about pursuing realism, diplomacy, which he also mentioned former Prime Minister Miyazawa, who decided to dispatch the Self-Defense Force for the first time to take part in PKO mission in Cambodia in 1992, which also probably leads to his realism diplomacy, which is to play a more active role in the region. I think in terms of East Asia specifically, he also clearly mentioned that he wants to develop a response capability, which I think means that he wants to enhance the U.S.-Japan alliance to potentially pursue a more counter-strike capability, maybe to enhance missile deterrence in the region. That's a very important step that will change the traditional role between the U.S.-Japan alliance, where the U.S. plays the spear and then Japan plays the shield. Another interesting point that he made was his emphasis on the specific amount that Japan will provide to offer defense equipment transfer to the region. He also touched on the agreement with Singapore on defense equipment transfer and technology. And I think those capacity building efforts is another way that Japan is trying to pursue in its free and open Indo-Pacific security vision.
Yeah, because, when asked about what a more active Japanese presence in the region could look like, he cast quite a wide net. He talked about maritime, digital, economic, even green efforts. What do you see that looking like on the ground?
Right. I think so. The free and open Indo-Pacific vision that he laid out it's really important to keep in mind that it's a policy that Japan has been pursuing since Prime Minister Abe. It was launched back in 2016, which had three pillars. An important aspect of it was actually the economic dimension, for instance, infrastructure development in the region, or trying to set a more free and open and rules-based digital economy. For instance, the promotion of the data-free flow with trust is another example, and Japan was also spearheading the conclusion of the CPTPP when the U.S. president withdrew it from the agreement. So this mention of green digital is already something that Japan has been pursuing. And another interesting point that he widened the scope of free and open Indo-Pacific that I'm very interested in following is the mention of economic security. Now we're seeing new challenges in economic security, not just the supply chain resilience of strategic goods and medical goods, but also because of Russia's invasion on Ukraine, we're seeing challenges in energy security and fuel security. I think his point was to try to pursue maybe an active role in Japan's active role in these new economic security areas as well.
Yes, Yuka, right out of the gate in that keynote address, the Prime Minister talked about the economic importance of Asia-Pacific countries, just how massive it is and the impact that that has on the world. He also painted Japan as a kind of a bridge between its allies and the Indo-Pacific region. What did he mean by that?
Right. I think that is also the reason why this speech was very important in terms of timing, because the Prime Minister Kishida has been spearheading, has been playing a very much active diplomatic role, visiting Europe to counter Russia's unilateral, basically, invasion against Ukraine and violation of international law, but also emphasizing in Europe that what is happening in Ukraine could be the East Asia in the future. And now it's time for Prime Minister Kishida to come to Asia and also emphasize that links between Russia's invasion in Ukraine, what might happen in the Asia-Pacific region, and the challenges to the rules-based order in the region. Another important thing is that he is going to be attending the G7 summit in Germany later this month. Also, he has mentioned that he's considering to attend the NATO summit later this month, which means that the discussions that he's going to have in Asia is also going to be conveyed to Europe as Asia's only G7 member. So I think that's the kind of bridging role that he is trying to play.
Yuka, thank you very much for that. Yuka Koshino there, a research fellow for security and technology policy at the International Institute for Strategic Studies.